Hey, it's Navid here, and in this session, we will walk you through a complete AI roadmap for creators. You will learn how to master AI and implement this in your creator business. And I'm here with Jan, and we are going to dive into some really good stuff in this session. It's going to be pretty fast paced, but we have some good stuff prepared for you. What do you say, Jan?
Yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this because a lot is going to happen in 2024 in AI and beyond, of course. So I'm really excited to set the stage on the most important principles, right? It's not about just chasing the latest tool. It's about knowing how to use AI, what to use it for. And that's what we're going to break down.
Yeah, and why don't you talk a little bit about why AI in the first place and how you use this in your business, and then I can come back to me and share a little bit about how I do it as well.
Absolutely. I use AI a lot for brainstorming and for poking holes in ideas. I'm the CEO of a SaaS company. I'm also a creator myself. And there's a lot of times where I think about I need to write something and I don't really know where to start, right? And I'm a very process-driven person, so I've built up my processes around using AI for brainstorming, for validating ideas, and also for drafting in the first place. But I'm curious to hear about you, Navi. Do you use it for the same or do you use it differently?
Yeah, honestly, pretty similar, Jan. And what I'm really excited about is that I don't need to do all these mundane tasks. I don't know about you if you're watching this, but you probably don't like to add the YouTube descriptions or the tags and different things like that that just took a lot of time before. And that's what I call the supporting content. I like to still create things like this, longer videos, but I don't like to repurpose all this content and put it out there to many different platforms. Now, with the help of AI and different tools, which we can get into, this is a lot easier. You can use tools like Opus Clip to repurpose. There's, of course, Descript and many other tools that you can do things a lot faster these days. And that wasn't possible before AI. So I still like to create my content and be original. I think that's how you can stand out as a creator. Don't let AI replace your brain and creativity. Use AI as an assistant. I think that's the biggest learning I have when using AI. And I mean, there's going to be a lot of people sharing how they use AI for everything, and they use it for courses and even creating their full courses. I do use it for course creation and things like that as well, but mostly in the brainstorming phases. Or, for example, if I have a video and I want notes or show notes or descriptions or takeaways, I can use AI as an assistant to help me with that. And that would take a long time before. And I would even have to, need I would even need like an assistant or something like that to help me with this previously. So Jan, what do you have anything else to share here?
Yeah, I think you've made the most important point here. AI is an assistant in 99% of the time. While you were speaking, I was thinking about what are the occasions where I use AI without rewriting or reworking the outputs. And really, the only example I came up with was partially when I'm coding. So when I'm writing code, AI is better than me, and I use it a lot to refactor and to make the code more efficient. But when it comes to graphic design, when it comes to writing, when it comes to repurposing, most of the time you will touch AI output and you will add your own spin to it. And I think that's just important to set straight, because until we see GPT-5, that supposedly, if we believe Sam Altman, has way better reasoning capabilities, until we see that, I think we cannot expect 100% content that's ready to use out of the box.
Yeah, and I like that you share this because a lot of people use it, of course, for writing. It's good for this, but I think you need to be aware of that. It's not gonna be perfect. You have to tweak things, and I don't like that ChatGPT comes up with all my content. For example, if I'm doing a post about virtual summits, how ChatGPT is not going to exactly know what my virtual summit process is like. So it's going to actually make up things. Even it's not going to get this perfect and right out of the gate. So you have to actually add a lot more input. And we have gone over this in previous videos, how you can do this. But I think it's a lot easier if you record a longer video with your process, and then you can take that into, let's say, ChatGPT or your favorite AI tool, and then you can go from there. We have done this a lot for summit sessions and course videos and things like that. And another thing I'm really excited about is automating. I mean, that's something you
Yeah.
are really good at, Jan. And it's like simple tasks. We actually use a tool called N8n, and we actually automated a lot of cool stuff when it comes to the email marketing capabilities. It's not 100% AI, but I'm sure there's some AI built into that, and we can actually deliver an AI starter kit. And maybe if you're watching this, you saw this and you got this like via reply. That was completely automated by a trigger, a keyword, and then it was synced to my email provider ConvertKit, and it worked really well just with SendGrid and N8n and a few simple tools. We can do things like that today. So I don't know if you have anything else to share around this when it comes to automating. I think that's a really huge thing when it comes to AI.
Yeah, it is. And we have an example later in this session where we hook up an AI into a Slack channel, because let's face it, most creators coordinate teams via Slack, for example, or maybe you have a community chat for your membership area or for your community. There's very, very easy ways you can add an AI bot to that. And we'll show you a workflow on how you can do that with N8n. And it's really, really affordable. You're not going to break the bank with that.
Yeah, totally. So let's dive into, I guess, some pros and cons when it comes to using AI, because not everything is good. And you're going to hear from Mark Joyner and others. I'll link up some in the description so you can actually check them out, because not everything is completely positive when it comes to using AI. But let's dive into that a little bit, Jan, and kind of what we can do with it and what we shouldn't do with it. We have already touched upon it a little bit here in the beginning. So what do you say? Should we dive into it?
Yeah, let's do it. And I want to show you an example right now on how I use AI to overcome writer's block.
Yeah, let's share the screen here. Let's do it.
So what you're looking at right now is one of my favorite GPTs, which is the free YouTube summarizer. And what I use it for is to obviously summarize YouTube videos and then extract the most important takeaways, which I can then repurpose in my own marketing, add my own opinion to that and things like that. And the way you do this is I've prepared this here actually in an example. I have a prompt that starts with this: you are a seasoned, successful digital marketing expert with an exceptional understanding, blah, 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 of the topics that are most important for me. Please transcribe this video. This is obviously something that happened in my industry that's relevant, that I want to pick up in my content. And then I ask it to, based on the transcript above, give me the most important ideas, revelations, results, and news being discussed, and offer ideas how I can repurpose them as my own content, referencing the source and the context. And then I give it details about my target audience of CEOs and entrepreneurs and how they can use artificial intelligence. And what you'll see is you get results like this one, where you have the takeaway or the idea or revelation, an angle on, or a description on the idea itself, and then an angle on how I can repurpose that. And that is actually a really good process for me personally, and for many people who are in the AI content amplifier that we have as well, because you have this one base idea that you can create your pillar piece of content around, and then you repurpose that content into weeks worth of social media snippets and videos and blog posts and things like that.
And this is my favorite way. I mean, that's what we are doing right now. We are creating a longer piece of content right here, basically, or any of these videos on the summit or YouTube. So that's why I like starting with this. Even if I think today, even if I was going to write a book, or if I had maybe in mind to do a really in-depth blog post, I might start with a video. Maybe I could even get interviewed. I think that's an underrated way. Like the way we're creating content right now is very easy because we are going back and forth. But before this session, we actually structured this so we know what we are going to talk about. And then we can go back and forth, and it's going to be pretty useful, hopefully. And then you can repurpose this content in many different pieces, short form. You can even turn this into an entire blog post. And you don't need to do a ton of extra work. I think that's what I really like with AI. Not necessarily replacing our creativity, because, I mean, let's face it, yes, we can have an AI clone of us coming on here. Of course, we could do that with HeyGen and tools like this. But I think at the time we are recording this one, it wouldn't be as engaging. It would look pretty good, for sure. HeyGen has come a long way, but you can see with the hand movements, you can see that it's not going to be 100%. But I think that's, let's say you wanted to have something useful for your team, or for maybe send something quickly to customers, I think that is a great use case. Like not
Yep.
because then you don't need to every time like get, ready for camera and stuff like that. I think that's really what AI can help you with from that end as well.
I think the main value in creating this content ourselves for us is we get to think about the content. We get to think about the strategy and the angles. And obviously we use AI to refine the outlines for these videos, and we'll use AI in repurposing and things like that. But for us, the main value is I am creating something together with Navid right now. And then I can claim the copyright together with Navid, of course, that this is our piece of content. Nobody can take that from us. And if you outsource that ideation and that thinking and that strategy to AI, you are not as involved in the content anymore. It's not really you, and you can't really stand behind it. But let me show you something,
Yeah,
Navid,
but I
because
love
this
that
is
you bring this up before we get move forward. I love that you bring up the copyright aspect, because if a robot AI is, the person, like the person or the creator of the content, basically you're using ChatGPT for this or any AI tool, and most of it is created by a robot, then you cannot own a copyright to this. If you're interested in the legal aspects of using AI, I suggest watching Peter Neves' session on the AI for Creators Summit. It will also be on here, the channel, so definitely check that out, because you cannot own copyright to content that you have primarily used AI for as a role. Like that could be images. Images, there's a whole different ball game. But even for the written content, even if you change it a little bit, you cannot own the copyrights. You need to have significantly altered that content to own the copyright. That's at least how it is right now. Maybe it's gonna change in the future. So definitely check out that session on the summit.
Yeah, very, very, very important point. But this is the first step for me in brainstorming, overcoming writer's block. But it would be quite stupid, to be honest, to just run with this idea, because how do I know if this is actually a reasonable idea? Like, we cannot trust AI output in and of itself. So what I like to do is I like to go to Perplexity, and I've given it a similar prompt, but now what I'm doing is I'm using a different AI, which is called Claude, to poke holes into this idea. And I like mixing LLMs for this. I like to have one idea from ChatGPT and then battle test it with Claude, or do it vice versa, or use Gemini Pro or something, because then you get new angles, you get new input, frankly, that helps you make the content even better. So now you can read the prompt for yourself here.
Can you, in this one, I think you can actually toggle on different models, right? I think that's the benefit.
I'll show that in a second. Yeah.
That's I think the really cool use case with the Perplexity. I just wish they had GPTs of some kind. I think that would be really cool, and maybe that's coming at some point. But I do think Perplexity is like a game changer for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's one of my most used AI tools. It replaced Google. I actually I used it like 9 months ago, I want to say, and it was okay back then. And then I saw Conor Grennan rave about it at his AI for Creators session, and I was like, okay, I have to try this again. And it's actually really good, because now what you can see is I get very structured output, why this could be a great idea, potential pitfalls to consider, suggestions on how to make this even better. And you can see right here, it has been written with Claude 2.1, which in Germany at the time of this recording, I don't even have access to. So it gives me even access to LLMs that I couldn't access otherwise, which is amazing. And then when I hit rewrite, you see I've got the Copilot, I've got the LLM from Perplexity itself, GPT-4, of course, and then Gemini Pro is a beta model from Google that is also not rolled out in Germany at the time of this recording, but I can still use it here, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's why I suggest anyone jumping on Perplexity, because you will get access to a lot of things. Maybe you're in Europe or different countries where you cannot access it, and then you can actually use different models, and then you can see that slightly different output as well. Now, sometimes ChatGPT is not the best tool, so you should actually go to other ones and try where you get the best output. So I always do this myself as well.
Yeah, and Gemini Pro is one of my favorites right now, because it says, here's a great idea, of course, like it wants to encourage the human. And then it also says, why is it a bad idea? The idea itself isn't bad. There are a few potential pitfalls to consider. Overemphasis on AI. Focusing too much on AI could make your content seem outdated or irrelevant in the future. That is something that Claude didn't say, because as we both know, we've been working on this summit for like 6 months now, and the stuff we did in the very beginning isn't even relevant anymore. And you're never going to see this because we're not publishing it. But it evolves, and that's an angle that when I create content around AI, I need to be aware of. Obviously, there's a ton of content, so I need to make sure I'm differentiating myself, and I might limit my audience. So this was just 2 examples of how I use AI for overcoming writer's block and brainstorming. Let me also show you something that I find really, really cool, which is A.chat. And you know, I'm a nerd, I'm a coder, and this is pair programming in my terminal. What this is, like, you and I right now, we are pair creating content, if you want. Like, we are playing ball here, going back and forth between the two of us.
Yeah.
In programming, it's a similar concept, which is called pair programming, where usually 2 or more humans sit together working on the same problem in code. Now, this tool simulates a human, really. So when we're talking about replacing humans, for me personally, this is the closest I've come. I have not hired as big of a development team for my AI SaaS platform as I would have had to if it wasn't for this free tool. And you connect it to GPT and it writes the code for you in a GDPR compliant way. It's not like Samsung developers sharing code into ChatGPT and then having to beg OpenAI to turn it down again. But it's my code, really. And there's a similar thing with GitHub. And here's an interesting story. I'm just bringing this up because GitHub is owned by Microsoft, as you know, which invested a whole lot into OpenAI. And Microsoft is pushing this platform, even though on average they are losing between $20 and $30 per month per user. This goes to show how important the development of AI is for Microsoft. So coming back to a little bit of the pros and cons right here. The pros is you can use it for a lot. The con is there's a ton of tools, and I'm going to play it back to you in a second, Navid. But what I want to say is, keep in mind that the tools you are already using, especially around everything around Microsoft, it will have AI. Like there's now an AI key on the keyboard. They've replaced the Windows key with a key that brings up AI. That shows you how important it is in the future.
Yeah, totally. That's great. They are going all in on this. But I think in terms of some cons, the writing is not really that useful sometimes, what you're getting back. Of course, you can provide all this fancy input. You can do custom instructions. You can do a lot of these things for sure. You're going to get better output when you do all these things, but it's still going to be created by the AI. It's going to be maybe some of your stories weaved into that. But I think the way I like to do it is what I've shared already. I like to create this original content, and then I like to use AI for my supporting content, all the content around it, basically. I think another thing that I've seen, and now it's getting more common, but team collaboration isn't supported in a lot of tools. I think now with ChatGPT, actually, they added it, which is great. I haven't dabbled too much with this. And if you use some tools, they can get very expensive. I think that's another thing I've seen. Like if you're using it at scale, especially if I wanted to translate, or for example, I wanted to turn this entire channel on YouTube into Spanish and have our voices, perfectly synced and using like 11 laughs with Hey Jen and stuff like that, it would be pretty expensive for long form content. It's fine for some shorter videos, I would say like 10 minutes here and there. But if you're doing long form content, that's expensive. But I do see that becoming cheaper in the future, and even YouTube integrating some of this technology into the YouTube platform natively. And some of our other speakers at the AI for Creators Summit, they have actually shared more about this. That's a few things I have to share there. Like a lot of people, they're hyping a lot of tools, as you mentioned as well. There's too many tools. What you have to keep in mind, as Jan mentioned, a lot of the tools you're using, they are integrating AI. Just dabble with it. Like Canva, for example. If you want to get into AI image generation, use Canva for now. I mean, there's Midjourney, of course. You're going to hear about that as well during the summit. We'll link it up below here. But that's a more advanced tool for sure. And you have to pay a monthly fee for it. So that can quickly add up if you're using a lot of these tools. So it depends what you're going to use it for. So Jan, I'm going to leave it over to you. Anything else you'd like to share there around cons or any learnings when it comes to AI?
Yeah, learnings. There's so many. Where do I start?
Yeah, I have a lot of them.
I think one of the most important learnings that I had over the last 4 years, I've started in 2019-ish with AI, is you cannot rely on tools. Like AI will not supplement your or replace your creativity and your thinking. You have to use it as an amplification engine, if you will, as a testing engine where you can feed your ideas and your content in and see what you could do with it. But coming up with content ideas originally with AI will make your content really, really bland. And it's just the same old if you rely on AI for creativity. I've had a call this morning that was pretty interesting with a friend who's working with in a German full service agency, and they were stuck on a design idea for a van wrapping. And I showed them how they could use ChatGPT with DALL-E to get ideas for the designs of the van. And then they came up like, okay, so where do I get the printable file from this so that I can run this through the machine and get the finished design and just glue it onto the van? And I was like, that's not how AI is supposed to work at this stage. AI is supposed to shortcut the ideation and the validation phase. AI is supposed to automate simple little things, but it is not yet ready to take away the entire creative process. Because if you think about that, then we are at artificial general intelligence at least, and then the world will look very different, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what I've heard from a lot of speakers and experts I've had the pleasure to speaking to on the summit series, and what you can see here on the channel as well. And AI is not truly creative. It's not going to replace your creativity as a creator, as a solopreneur. Just remember that it's an assistant, as we mentioned so many times. And I think if you see it this way and not get the thrown in this hype train, a lot of people want to say every tool is perfect. A lot of tools has a lot of bugs. We can like do an entire video on this right now. Even like we at some point we might do this actually. That we have seen so many bugs, even in tools we recommend and we like. They have a lot of bugs, and because AI is new technology, and what happened is that a lot of these tools, they're adding AI stuff too quickly, and then even the support team, they don't know how to handle it. They just sometimes don't even know the features, and you have to speak to like senior level management. That's happened to us with certain tools, and in the future we can for sure break down some of this stuff. It's quite funny actually, and to some this would make the tool unusable. We have managed to get around it, but it's not that fun all the time. So Jan, let's get
Yeah.
into a little bit more how we use AI. We've already talked about this, but let's get into that a little bit more. Maybe we can show some examples and demonstrate some stuff here as we go along.
Yeah, one thing I want to show is an automation framework. And I'm not going to configure this everything because that's a video in itself, but I want to show the concept of how we use AI. This is a platform called N8n, which is, think about it as an alternative to Zapier. And in a self-hosted way, like we can run this on a DigitalOcean server for $7 a month, and we have unlimited zaps to stay in the Zapier lingo. Then you have it under your own control. And what we are doing with this workflow is we have a webhook, we have a trigger that is connected to our Slack channel. And then whenever there's a message in that specific Slack channel, could be a customer support, could be a team chat, whatever you have in your Slack, really, you can pass this on to an AI agent. And then you connect it to OpenAI. And because you're using the API, it is GDPR compliant, and everything you send via the API is not used to train the model. So this is all safe and encrypted. We're using it in our AI business ourselves as well. You connect it to a conversation history so that the bot actually remembers what was said. And you connect it to other tools. For example, here I've prepared a SERP API, which is essentially Google. So the bot inside Slack can research in Google in real time and can research in Wikipedia as well. And then you just funnel it back to a message into the Slack channel. So with this simple workflow, we'll link it below. It's a one-click installation, and then the tool guides you through the process. What you can do is you build an AI bot that reads all the Slack messages that you have, filters out the ones where it's actually being named and spoken to, if you will. and then can process anything really. You can connect any tool that you have. Like if you tell the bot, create a new Google Drive folder because we're creating a new email marketing campaign, or maybe update an entry in HubSpot CRM, or write a draft for this new blog article and publish it as a draft on my WordPress website. You can do all those things from this little template. And this is one of my far favorite use cases with AI.
100%. Do leave a comment if you would like us at some point to break down how this works. It's a little bit technical. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit technical, but that's with a lot of automation stuff, it's more technical. But we just want to show the possibilities when it comes to using AI and automation tools like N8n here. But Jan, I want you to actually tell them a little bit about our very cool automation we set up for the AI for Creators Summit. That's just incredible. We have gotten so many replies and getting insane deliverability because we are doing this. And that's a hack on its own. I'm not sure it's 100% AI, as I mentioned previously, but it's I'm sure they have some stuff in the background that's a little bit with AI and stuff like that.
Yeah, we could hook into AI at this at any point in time. Right now, it's really just an automation.
Yeah.
But like, that's actually another really good point. Don't use AI for the sake of using AI.
Exactly.
Keep things simple and stupid.
Yeah.
KISS. My favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you mentioned this, by the way, because I think it's so interesting when the internet came. That's a long time ago now for but it's just like 20 years or so. Internet was not really a big thing, right? And it's the same with AI. AI is gonna be this thing that is normal. Right now, we don't talk about, hey, let's go into internet. It's normal. It's on our smartphones. It's everywhere, right? It's in coffee shops, everywhere. And internet, like just 20 years ago, was not really that common everywhere, right? So now with AI, I think what's going to happen is that we don't even talk about AI that much in the future. It's just going to be baked into everything that we do. And the companies that don't have it or use it in some shape or form, they're going to probably disappear in some way, because I think they need to implement new technology in order to thrive in this economy.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I envision in the next, let's say, 2 years is an automation like this you could just build with a text prompt. You could talk to N8n and say, build me an automation that automatically responds with this response to this specific set of emails. So what we've done here with your autoresponder is we've got this Gmail trigger that fires up whenever you receive an email, which is in and of itself the reason we don't use like make.com or Zapier, because it will cost us hundreds of dollars to build this, because
Super
you're getting
expensive.
so many emails.
Yeah, because it's like checking every request is checking in the inbox, basically, because ConvertKit, unfortunately, I wish they had that, but they don't integrate natively. So you can, I mean, some providers, they might have a reply trigger. That would be great, but they don't have that. So we had to build it. Like ActiveCampaign have something like this, but I think what we have set up is even better, because it looks like a personal reply is coming from me. And essentially this, it's coming from my Google Workspace, basically my main email I'm using for Creator School. It's coming from this email. So when people are getting that, actually some people, they're even thanking me for sending it over to them, which is great. So I'm getting like
you are super fast with this, like 24/7. You're on your inbox sending those responses.
I'm monitoring my inbox 24/7, guys. I'm like in the inbox. I'm not even sleeping. I'm always in the inbox sending this manually to you guys. Even if it's like 3 a.m. in the morning, I'm there. No, but it's automated, but it's personalized automation.
Yeah. So what we do is we watch for new emails. We remove a certain label that is essentially just, it's in the inbox. We take it out of the inbox. We send the response via SendGrid and add a label to that original response we got saying, okay, start to get received, so that we can track it in the inbox of in Gmail. And we sync it up to ConvertKit. So it's really not rocket science, but those ideas, like you can get those ideas to tie it back to AI with ChatGPT or Perplexity. If you want to increase the deliverability of your emails, one thing to do, if you don't know it, is to ask ChatGPT, how can I get higher deliverability of my emails? And one thing it will tell you is, the more engaged your subscribers are, the better your deliverability is, which means more clicks, more opens, more responses. And when you ask it, okay, how can I automate a response using N8n? Because you've seen this video, you know now about the tool. You can ask ChatGPT, how do I configure this workflow in N8n? And it will guide you through the process pretty easily.
Yeah, and speaking of email, that's something we use it for a lot, especially when it comes to subject lines, emojis, things like that. Maybe also structure. I think that's something else I want to touch upon that we use it quite a lot for, but maybe we can showcase this in maybe ChatGPT would be good for this to show with subject lines. And yeah, you can also search for, you see here the GPT store, there's sometimes useful GPTs, and I suggest checking out the session where we did on custom GPTs. That's a really good one as well. And that will go live.
So here's an example of what I've done with AI for a client, which is setting up a prompt for a cart abandonment recovery sequence. And this is not your usual email campaign, but you've likely seen 500 tutorials on how to write a welcome sequence with ChatGPT. So let's spice this up a little bit. This now is your world-class conversion copywriter. You've also got a PhD in human psychology. Your task is to help me craft a cart abandonment email series that triggers when somebody puts a product into the cart of my online shop but leaves without purchasing. And chances are, as a creator, you're selling ebooks, courses, maybe one-on-one consulting hours that people can buy. Like, you have to sell something to keep the lights on, right? And whenever somebody goes to your shop, puts the product into the cart, they go to the checkout page, they start the purchasing process essentially. Then their phone rings, they get cold feet, the baby cries, whatever it is that's distracting them, and they stop the purchasing process. Don't leave that money on the table. Like, follow up with them with an email automation sequence. And in this prompt, just take a screenshot of this or pause the video right now to take this for yourself. This prompt will guide you through the process of writing that cart abandonment recovery email sequence, which is a hell of a long word. But essentially, it asks you 4 questions about, okay, what are the details? Like, I need to know something in order to write a really good sequence, just as you would tell a human copywriter these things. You have to tell them ChatGPT as well. So you can have
one thing I wanted to share on this, like just some tips for if you're gonna take this example. I think it's a lot of people don't have this. We have it even for the AI for Creators Summit. I set up this, and basically you have like an email going out 1 hour after you leave the cart, then possibly like one day after, and you can have another one or 2 days after, and then you can have another one like a week after to say like, hey, did you see these emails? And they can also fill out a survey or something like that. I think you can do a lot with it. But yeah, ChatGPT can help with the structure. Maybe you've also seen some examples that you like for an email or for a social media post. That's something we use it a lot for, Jan. I don't know if you have an example about this, but for example, if you wanted to write a really good LinkedIn post or an X thread or Twitter thread, right? Then you can actually go to your favorite creator, not stealing their content or something like that. I'm not advocating this, but you can see what already works, and then taking that and putting that into ChatGPT, basically copying his post and saying to ChatGPT, I want something similar. I want you to break down the structure, and then you can create something a lot easier.
Yeah, we've done this with your very own email because we wanted to replicate the tone of voice with the emails you send out to attendees of the AI for Creators Summit. And all we did was said, break down the structure of this email from the perspective of a world-class conversion copywriter and email marketing expert. And we copied the email directly out of ConvertKit, which is why the line breaks are a little bit messy here. But it doesn't hurt ChatGPT at all. So it gave us very good structure. We didn't put the subject line in, so it didn't have any insights here, but we say, okay, what's the greeting, personalized touch? What's the opening line like? What's the main content like? And you get a really, really good structure that you can copy and paste into a new prompt, or even continue this conversation and say, okay, now take this tone of voice and write a welcome email for my online course for harpists, for example. And then ChatGPT will take this exact structure and write it. So as Navid said, don't just steal one for one. Like, even if you had your favorite creators, like when you say LinkedIn, I think Justin Welch, for example, or Jasmine Arlich, don't just put their content in and take the output one for one. You still want to really make it your own, because that's also a thing about copyrighted content on the platform itself, and whether or not you can use it to create your own templates for LinkedIn articles. That's again a conversation with Peter Neves.
It's a little bit of a gray zone, especially when I spoke to Peter and Nevis. I think it's a little bit of a gray zone, depends the platform, but a lot of people do it. I don't think you get in trouble for it, but I'm not gonna say like if everyone starts doing something, it also might become less effective. But either way, on many platforms, there's some kind of format that works better. So if you can put your content into a format, that's great. But at the same time, you want to be original, you want to be unique. So make sure your personality shines through. AI cannot replicate that. So definitely make sure you have something more than just the content. So it's just like a story, some value that you're sharing that's unique to you.
Yeah, that's the main takeaway here. AI, again, in this step, is taking over the grunt work of coming up with a template and templatizing what works, but you still have to make it like 100% ready. I think that's the most important takeaway.
Yeah, as we said as well, we use it a lot for simple things like emojis, like coming up with emojis. I mean, maybe you are really good at that for anything, but sometimes we just like to ask ChatGPT to do it because it stands out more in the inbox, or you might have seen that in some emails we use it. Actually, we use ChatGPT for a lot of this stuff to just ask for suggestions, and it does a great job at that. I don't know if there's anything else we can mention here. I think with video and audio editing, we use it a lot with AI as well. I mean, that's something. Although we have a love-hate relationship a little bit at this moment, but I haven't found a better tool than Descript. But I would be wary. They have some bugs. We're not gonna get into all of this now, but they have added a lot of AI features. They have some really big bugs that annoys us a lot, but we haven't found a better tool that do this faster. If we had like a big editing team or something, we might use other tools. I've used Final Cut. I've used all these tools. CapCut is good as well. Adobe Premiere, DaVinci we use sometimes, but if you want like a really fast one that is with basically text-based editing here, I think this you can't really beat this.
I mean, the studio sound feature, as many headaches as it is giving us, it's still by far the best sound editing that I can do. Let me remove us
here so you can see if the studio sound is there in the right sidebar. And it's basically one click. Maybe I don't even need to use my microphone. I still advise you to do it, of course. But you can use your regular microphone. I had speakers doing that. And unless you're an audiophile, of course, you might hear some differences, and that is not perfect by any means. But if you use that on a regular, MacBook speaker or your computer speakers, actually will sound pretty good, will improve it. We did that on some speakers. It's just like night and day difference. So, and I haven't found other tools where it's so easy to implement this. That's why we probably stuck with this, because some speakers just didn't have great setups. And
it's the main reason we stuck with this. And also what we also should talk about here is they have this Ask AI feature where you can have AI edit for clarity. And what this does is it removes double words, for example. You can have chapters and markers. This is so much.
Maybe you can showcase how this works. It's actually really simple to do it. You just
click on it and then say, okay, I now have a 90-minute interview here. So say I want to have a chapter length between 7 and 10 minutes, I'll probably have 11 chapters here. And then AI is thinking, and while it is thinking, I want to show you a different AI tool, because Descript AI is not the quickest, to be totally honest.
But I like also Riverside for some of the show notes. They added a show notes feature. You can dive into that as well if you have it up.
Yeah, I'm just pulling that up on a different screen, but it's actually faster than we expected here. So now we can just say,
it's pretty fast though. Like it's not bad, but I would say it's not perfect either. If you do descriptions and stuff like that, and that's with a lot of tools we use. I have some other examples for you in a bit here as well, where we use AI a lot. But this is one of the biggest use cases. The transcripts are really accurate as well. Not every tool they have accurate transcripts. I remember for previous summits, I had to basically pay on rev.com. I think it's like $125 per audio minute or something. I don't know if they have increased the price, but it's super expensive. I had to pay like for a 1-hour video quite a lot of money for this. Now I'm using Descript, which I don't know, starts for the pro plan. I think I'm paying $30 a month or something, and that includes actually Squadcast now because they acquired it. So that's a really cool thing. It's basically similar to Riverside, although I think still Riverside has an edge, a little bit better than Squadcast, at least from my use case. And they have the show notes feature is better as well. It does a little bit better with these things. Plus they have magic clips, so could potentially replace Opus Clip as well if you use tools like this. And this is basically what I like the takeaways. I think that chapter markers might be a little bit better at times. But yeah, they
Yeah,
learn.
I think so too. And what we found is creating summaries from long form content isn't easy. ChatGPT is basically unreliable if you do this, because we saw it hallucinating and adding things that weren't said in the conversation,
Yeah.
which is obviously a no-go. We saw Claude with Perplexity work really, really well, but by far the easiest is
You
Riverside
bring
here.
up a great point, Jan. The hallucination on long content. I think that's really important. Be careful with this. I would just tell you right now. You might think, "Oh, this is great." Look, because it looks good. Sometimes it looks
Yeah,
great, the structure and everything. If you take a long video to ChatGPT or a lot of content, like we had a lot of short form, rapid fire questions with speakers, and we took it into ChatGPT and just copy pasted. I think it was quite a lot of words. I mean, it was 10,000 plus words, maybe more sometimes. We just copied it in and told ChatGPT basically to come up with, a summary or takeaways based on what they shared. Like, so we didn't need to go through this. It did a great job, kind of, but then it forgot a lot of stuff or made up stuff as well. You have to be careful with this. And I think you have to do it a little bit more in chunks, even though they're
yeah,
saying the context window is really big. You can upload like a 200,000 word book or something. If you do that, it's going to forget a lot of stuff. At least at the time we are recording this, I think that will get better in the future. But it's just a little bit hype. We mentioned this before.
yeah,
Like they want to make it sound like the greatest and the best. And a lot of AI tools do this. They hype things up. Even tools like Content at Scale, which I've raved a lot about, it does a great job. I think it's the best content writer for blog posts. But it's still not gonna be Brian Dean level content, even if you
right.
edit a little bit. It's not gonna be that. Like if you add 10% to that content, it's still not gonna be a world-class piece. I think I have like if you see some sessions, I raved a lot about it. I think it's a great tool, but I have taken this back a little bit after testing it extensively. It still has flaws, and I think
Yeah,
like it's like that with any AI tool. It's not just if you have aspirations to create like the best content in the world, is it gonna do that for you? No. But is it gonna be able to rank in Google for the content you create? Yes, it will. That's what it's for. So you have to kind of see the use cases for the tools you have to your arsenal, basically. And I think that's one of the best ones. But it's also really really premium. Could you do that with other tools? Maybe not the same thing, but you could potentially, just you record videos and then get the content in a better format for your brand, depending on what you do.
yeah. I think it's a volume game with AI more than a
Yeah,
quality game. That's really important to keep in mind. Like,
yeah,
look at this, for example. We've got so many clips right now, and we're not going to go through each of them. That
yeah,
blows out the video length. But
yeah,
like, just think about how much time it would have taken us 12 months ago, 6 months ago to create those clips. Like, it is really, really speeding things up. And if we end up, let's say those are like 10 clips, maybe we end up using 3 or 4. We still save time and we still save money doing this. And it lets you become omnipresent. I think that that's something that nowadays is really, really important. You have to be able to be in front of the right person at the right time, at the right place, be it TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, or X, Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is. And before AI, it was really challenging. Like for me personally, I have never been able to do it
yeah.
because it's just too much work to
Yeah.
customize the content for these specific platforms.
As a solo creator, it's really difficult because you wear many hats, right? So if you
Right.
can have, I think now you can have only one or two assistants or people working for you. You can use platforms like Online Jobs or Upwork or Fiverr to bring on someone really inexpensive as you're getting started. Okay, AI is not replacing human work, but you can amplify your team with AI. So you can make sure the team you're bringing on, they can actually learn AI. And then you
Yeah.
can probably do the same work. So it would take maybe 10 or 20 team members with just a few uh, team members from overseas, basically. I mean, that's basically cut down cost as well. I mean, some people, they want to build this have an in-person office and all this kind of stuff. If you want to be a solopreneur and build something like Justin Welch, for example, or he's very different than what Ali Abdallah's built. Ali Abdallah's built like, he's a creator as well, but he has built something with team members and stuff. Still quite lean, I would say, although he has quite a lot of full-time team members from the UK. And Justin Welch, he has, I think it's himself, and maybe now he has a few assistants or something like that,
Mm.
tops, but not many
Yeah.
people. Then you can actually, and he still makes I think he makes way more profit than someone like Ali Abdal, like way more.
Yeah,
They make
Ali
similar
Abdal
revenue.
scaled down his team as well. He was
Yeah,
I think in 2022 or 23 he did a review video where he
yeah,
said he was quite frustrated of the team size.
yeah,
And one thing I want to show how AI can benefit teams is a tool like Searchy,
yeah.
because what you can do there is, this is from Stu McLaren. What you can do there is you can upload internal materials. Let's say you have the processes documented in Loom. Everything you do,
Let's go
you
into
record
that,
a
by the
Loom
way.
video
Let's go into
for.
Wisdom AI or Search Your Wisdom, as it's called.
So this is what we've built inside the Creator School membership area. So if you've got any of our products, you'll see this GPT right here. And what this does is it helps you go through the content faster, because as a course creator, you want obviously your people to complete the lessons. And then if somebody went through it and they are searching for this very specific set of information, let's say they're working on a quiz funnel right now and they don't remember how to structure the questions, for example, instead of making them go through the entire video or videos, if you have multiple on the topic, what you can do is you can feed the contents into a platform like Searchy Wisdom or CoachVox, and then have a bot inside your membership area that creates very concise answers based on your materials. This is not hallucinating. This is not connected to the internet, trying to get outside information in, because you want to be sure that it answers in the way you want it to answer to.
Yeah, and
And
what's
that's
cool here as
really
well
good.
is you can actually see the reference. You can see the video if you click on the reference, go down, and then you can click on that and
Yeah.
click the video, and it pulls up really nicely there, so it can actually play. All right,
It
this is
doesn't
actually.
it doesn't doesn't put you out of the context of what you've been working on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can just do picture in picture here. And ignore the styling issues with this icon overlaying, because I've zoomed in 250% because I've got a big screen.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to read the text here. But this, of course, looks professional if you do it. And what you can also do is some really important things right here is suggested questions, because not everybody feels comfortable talking to an AI bot. And
yeah,
it's like, what do I use it for? When you came to someone in the early 1900s and said, okay, I've invented the light bulb. Cool. What does it do? It makes things bright. Amazing.
yeah,
But then
yeah.
think about it. I've invented electricity. What do I use it for? Everything.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
this is amazing because it's a closed system. Well,
Yeah.
like ChatGPT and OpenAI, it's more or less open. You're training the model. I think maybe you can showcase this, Jan, because you go to why would you use this over a GPT? The GPTs are great for certain use cases. So if you go back there, we can. Let me put us back here as well.
Yeah.
You can
Let me
actually
show you the
you
GPTs here.
yeah, there's a lot of useful GPTs, and we have even a full video on this showcasing you how to create your own GPT. I'll link that in the description. But just to go over this briefly, why GPTs? I mean, GPTs are really, really good for certain things.
Yep.
For example, but I wouldn't use it for my customers because you're training essentially the model. It's more of an open system, and they have also had security breaches, which you have to be a little bit
But
careful of, and they can actually get your data. When we
yeah.
recorded that session, you
Watch
could
my
actually,
session for that. Yeah.
yeah, we tested a lot of this stuff, and it actually is pretty scary that you can get the files and stuff like that. So
It's quite
I would
easy.
use this for maybe lead magnets, for public information, stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
keep in mind also the students, they would have to pay for ChatGPT Plus to get access to this. Some people might not want this if they're buying your program. For example, if you're a fitness coach and you're sending to ChatGPT to get your meal plan, I mean, you could do that, but or like to get like coaching kind of. I think it's much more
Right.
beneficial to use a tool like CoachVox or Searchy for these kind of things. And a lot of people, they actually monetize. They're monetizing an AI version of themselves. They're cloning themselves and they are giving access to their brain essentially via this platform for, let's say, $10, $20 a month. A lot of people have done this. It's like private coaching, but in this format when they can ask questions even at night or whenever it is, when
Yeah.
the coach or expert might be sleeping.
Yeah. So here's what I use GPTs for. I use it to create images, because I'm not like a photographer. I'm not a designer. I don't know what to put
Yeah.
into a prompt for a specific camera style, for example. But what I use is the Gleba Tree Art Designer, and it gives me 4 different variations of an image with prompts for Midjourney as well. So I can compare DALL-E to Midjourney directly. This is a really, really good use case for a GPT, I think. The free YouTube summarizer from the beginning was another example. What you cannot use it for is to upload anything that resembles your intellectual property. Just don't do it, because if you Google how to jailbreak a GPT, you will find ways to jailbreak a GPT. And if you
Yeah,
can Google it and I can Google it, anybody can find the stuff on the
exactly.
internet.
Yeah, but I'm glad you brought up the AI image generation. I think that's so big because I don't know about you, but I'm not, I love taking photos and going around the world. I like doing this kind of stuff, but with these AI image generation tools, you can create more unique things. You can also create very photorealistic stuff in Midjourney, especially. But the other tools like Leonardo AI is getting better. It's getting scary good, actually. And I think
Yeah.
tools like Leonardo AI, you even have some free credits there. So you can, if you don't want to pay for Midjourney, just go to Leonardo AI and start dabbling there. And then we mentioned already Canva. If you're using Canva and you're on the pro plan, you're gonna get basically unlimited usage of most of the AI features. So I think that's really good. But this is like Leonardo AI. It's really, really good, really high quality. You can do other things as well, like photorealistic stuff or whatever it suits your creativity. Like you can make
Yeah.
this look really good for your brand. I think before a lot of people use these stock photos. I love Unsplash. It's great. But I think now in the age of AI, you don't really need to use stock photos as much. You can actually create your own stock photo library using these AI image generation tools. Of course, it
Yeah.
has a little bit of a learning curve to get it right, to get the colors right. You have to tweak things a little bit. And we have sessions about this on this AI for Creators series. So I suggest sticking around and checking some of these out when they go live here on the channel
But
as well. But
but
yeah, this is
honestly,
pretty good.
this is insane. This could easily be a photograph.
Yeah, this
Like,
is like a full. It's really difficult to tell. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit in terms of maybe the skin, but I think a lot of people are using filters anyway these days, or they
yeah,
overlay it, especially models or Instagram influencers and stuff. They have anyway edit. You can kind of tell they're using filters, right?
yeah.
So it's not so different
This
than
is
these AI. I mean, there's even been AI influencers or AI models popping up, and they are making bank like 10K a month. It's in some cases because they don't flake. They basically can promote your product whenever you want. And it's actually, I think we're going to see more of this, good or
I
bad. I
agree.
don't know. Let me know in the comments. Do you think that's a good thing that maybe we will see these AI influencers taking over and promoting a brand and not just like the real versions of people, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You can create an AI influencer agency. That's might be a way to monetize this. I think at some point it will get saturated though, for sure, because you gotta see too many people trying it. The people who jump on early of this trend, they're gonna benefit, and then the other people who are jumping on too late, they might not be as successful. I think.
Yeah, I mean, if I look at this image, I can't tell if it's AI or not. I know it's AI, but
Yeah.
if I didn't know, I wouldn't be able to tell.
Th-
And
This one looks pretty real. I mean, it's a black and white photo, but it looks pretty good. I would
yeah,
say. I mean, you can do crazy things. Like maybe you want to do more futuristic stuff. That's kind of how AI started a lot. People wanted to have
right.
these AI photos. I guess it's cool depending on your brand to do it, but I think it's died out a little bit with this. I think now I think I'm more excited about really replicating real stuff. For example, maybe I cannot go to do this photo shoot, but I have some photos of me from in the past in New York or during my travels, and I want to have
Yeah,
more of these photos. I go to Midjourney or I go to my favorite AI image generation tool. I put in this photo and then I replicate that in Midjourney. I think that's gonna get better. I'm not sure it's really perfect right now, but for sure you can do some with it. I suggest checking out some of these sessions with Rory Flynn and Drew Brucker. They are really good with Midjourney, and also we have in the AI Super Bundle some stuff around this as well. But yeah, do you have anything else to share on AI image generation? Anything you like for this?
I think creators need to learn this.
Yeah,
I think it's really, really important. Even if you are mostly like writing, for example, and you don't consider yourself a graphical person, knowing the basics, I think is really important because it also helps you create slide designs. If you want to have faceless YouTube channels, AI is
yeah,
your best friend there. Like,
yeah.
just play with it, I think.
Yeah, I think the faceless YouTube channels, when you're using a lot of AI content, there's like weed.io, I think. They can do some of this if you pull this up, Jan. That's a good video tool. But Personally, I don't like it too much. Like, I think they're creating pretty crap content when you're just doing the auto-generated stuff. I think you can use it as an assistant for some stuff, but then is it gonna be the best in the world to do that and have the everything? For sure not. There are people on YouTube that have real creativity. You're not gonna stand out.
Yeah.
Even if you have a faceless YouTube channel and you wanna do it right, I would not completely automate everything. You could take clips from other people with the fair use policy to some extent. You can also create your own unique scripts and stuff like that and have someone do a voiceover. So certain things, if you want to do it really well, AI cannot really outsource this. That comes back to what we shared about AI is not really good with original content, but it's really good with supporting content. So use it as an assistant and you're going to thrive when it comes to a lot of this stuff. That's kind of what I would say around this, Jan. I don't know if you
I
have
think
any.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect segue into the future predictions, because AI video and AI creativity, I think we'll see a big jump up in 2024 and in the years coming. I think what's even more important is understanding this notion of AI agents. And we've had Armand Ruiz talk about this at the summit, that he uses a virtual team of AIs to research the news in the AI industry and summarize them for him so that he can create all the content that he does while working as a head of Watson X at IBM. And for creators, I want you to take away from this video, from this specific part, that soon you will have your own virtual AI assistants. They will cost like $20 to $50 a month, if even. They will monitor the news in your industry for you. They will chunk up everything in bite-sized snippets that you can use as information for your own content to beef up your content, because it's great if you have content that is your own opinion. It's even better if you can back that opinion with facts and examples and case studies and other people's content so that you can co-create more. And in this notion, I see AI video as well, because soon what we'll see is we'll see AI agents, and I've built one of those myself, that can transcribe videos automatically, put them into MP3, for example. And then it's a very small step to create a new video with AI, upload that MP3 that you've done, maybe with your own voice even, and publish that as a video in itself. I'm not sure if it will be this year, but if not this year, then next year for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's some other things I'm excited about. We have talked a lot about the supporting content. That's here and now. That's actually
Yeah.
something you can do right now. But I think AI will get scary good at the supporting content. Right now, you still have to edit a little bit. You have to tweak things. I think when it comes to YouTube chapters, when it comes to the descriptions and maybe takeaways and all these kind of stuff, you don't necessarily want to do after creating this 1 hour video, whatever you have done for your channel or summits or the courses you create. You might be exhausted. You want to actually just take this off your plate, and you can have even a team member go in and do this. You can train your team when it comes to all these AI tools. And I think AI is just going to get so good at this stuff that we're not even going to think about it too much. It's just going to be a natural way. Everyone is going to use it. I know there's been some debate that some creators are like, oh, I don't want to use AI because of this and that. I mean, if you're not using AI for supporting content, you're missing out. Even if you are feeling a little bit like me, I don't want to use it for everything when it comes to the creativity. I 100%, even if you're a photographer or like a really big creative, I think you should use it. I mean, there's tools like Autopod. If you're doing a podcast and you basically have different angles, I mean, it's even faster to edit these days than a session like this. Like, this is an online remote session, but like, imagine we were in person and we had different angles, different cameras. We can use a tool like Autopod. It's amazing. It's a plugin for Premiere, basically, and then you can automatically have this cut between us, which is insane. That would take hours before. You would have to have a video editor to do this. Yes, you can still have an editor do this kind of stuff and amplify their skills with these AI tools. So yeah, that's basically what I have to say. I mean, there's a lot of things coming when it comes to AI. I think what I'm excited about is to reach new audiences in different languages. I think that would be a game changer, especially if the cost go down a little bit for some of this technology, so it's more accessible to others than not just Mr. Beast and people like that who can dub all their videos and even change the context of the jokes. I mean, all this is very costly to do. That takes a lot of time. But as a new creator, for example, how can you implement some of this? I would say dabble with the tools. I mean, I
Yeah,
think that's important.
it is. And one thing to be aware of is what Sam Altman said at Davos at the World Economic Forum is that the speech generation with OpenAI will see a massive update this year. So right now it's quite slow, and you can tell it is AI that you or robot that you're speaking to. I don't think we will be able to identify if we're speaking to a human or a robot in December. I just don't think it's humanly possible.
Yeah.
And then the whole multimodal thing, right? Create text and images and video and speech in the same place, in the same context, will change a lot of processes in content creation. I'm really excited about this because I like to start with a written piece of content, just me personally, and then I spin it off into different directions.
Yeah.
Navid is more the video guy who's talking about, okay, let's do a 1 hour session, and then we spin it up into 50,000 different pieces of content. But for each take on creating content, we'll see a lot of amplification with AI this year. And if you are missing the boat on that, you'll have a really hard time competing with those people who use AI.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jan. I really enjoyed doing this session. If you have any takeaways about anything we've shared, drop it in the comments. Let us know how you will use AI, what you're excited about. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Like the video if you want more content just like this. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now. Bye.